So last week we were talking about relationships and how they keep falling apart. And this video is basically the part 2 of that video where I will be sharing with you all the steps that you need in order for you to overcome this hurdle if you've been like me, where I have struggled with this very issue in many of my relationships in the past. This is something that really helped me and I hope it can help you as well. So without further ado, let's get to those magical steps that will bring the spark back in your life. Hey, real quick, listen. Before we get into the video, click on that subscribe button, smash that bell as well. Alright? That way you get every new video that I put out. Some good stuff, man. So definitely subscribe. So last week we were able to determine that the reason why these things fall apart is because we are lying to ourselves, right? We on the same page. I know you agree. You know it. You know it. But anyways, the reason why relationships fall apart is because there's a lack of honesty and transparency within ourselves. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is evaluate. So you need to take everything that you are, that you believe that you are, and we're gonna evaluate it, right? What this means is that you have to take an objective look at who you really are. And by objective, I mean the whole picture. Like, you need to separate yourself from your identity and who you believe to be and look at yourself as a sphere and start dissecting that, right? And you can do that by yourself, but you will need to be absolutely honest with yourself. And if you know that you can be honest, in some cases I knew that I could not see certain things for what they were and I needed someone else to point that out for me. Get someone that you trust, someone that will tell you exactly what you need to hear, someone that will be direct but loving, someone that will tell you exactly what you need to hear in a loving or even in a non-loving way if you can handle that. But you need honest, 100% real opinion of who you really are, right? It will totally suck. Trust me, I've been there. It sucked, but it will totally be worth it. And if you're doing it by yourself, what you need to do is basically list all the things that you love about you, but also list all the things that you hate about you and the things that you don't want anyone to know, right? List all those things out. Here are some things that you may love about you, your social skills. But here's something that you may hate about you. That every single time someone makes you feel weak in public, you tend to get angry and aggressive because deeply you truly do feel weak. And you're afraid that this person pointing that out might make the world see you for who you really are. And you're afraid that you will lose validation and value because of it. So you get triggered and you get angry. That's an honest perspective of something that you may not like about yourself or may not be aware of about yourself. And that takes us to number 2, which is dig deep. Literally open yourself up and go find the source of whatever pain or whatever it is that you're afraid to share with the world. For instance, you feel weak. Why do you feel weak? Because at some point of your life, you trusted someone openly. You gave yourself to them like, take me. You gave yourself to them fully and you expected them to just love you unconditionally, whether this was an ex-lover, whether this was a friend, a sibling, a parent, whoever it is that mattered to you that much that you just threw yourself in, right? Trusting that they would catch you, right? And they never did, right? Instead, they have a checklist for you. They're like, John, why aren't you good enough? Why can't you be more like him? Why can't you be more like him? Why can't you do this better? Why can't you do that better? And as the little naive person that you were at the time, that freaking crushed you. And you were destroyed. And that's that moment that you started feeling weak. And since then, you're like, I am never letting nobody see me this weak. This is never going to happen again. Yeah, that right there. That's when it happened. You need to recognize that. That's the source. And here's the crazy thing. When it happened, you never dealt with it. You just believe that this person I was talking to was like, okay, they know what's best for me. So what they say goes. Unfortunately, some cultures raise their kids that way. That was the culture that I was brought up in. And that fucked me up. Like, real bad. But I never dealt with it. Moving on. That takes us to step number 3, which is leave it in the past. Right? Detach from the event that originally made you feel weak. Accept that it happened, right? And that the reason you let it happen is because You didn't know any better and you were young and naive. You thought that by trusting these people, they had the best interest for you in mind. Here's what you can say to yourself when you get to this point of the journey. I was young. I didn't know any better. I thought I was doing the best thing for me based on what I knew at the time. All I wanted is to just be loved for who I am. Like, honestly, be seen for who I am as a being and be loved no matter what. And I didn't get that. But that's okay. And it was okay for you to want that as a person. That's what you can tell yourself. This takes us to step number 4, which is let it go. You don't have to hold on to the guilt of making a naive mistake of trusting the wrong person. You can forgive yourself, and that's okay. You can give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. You don't have to beat yourself up for so long. You don't have to feel ashamed of who you are or ashamed of your capacity as a being because you are unable to determine the best thing for you at the time. You need to let that go, and you need to understand that the people that you trusted don't know and don't understand how to unconditionally love themselves, that they didn't know the amount of trust that you're actually putting in them at the time and couldn't value that because they didn't have that themselves. Understand that they're also just a product of whatever their parents put them through, whatever they experienced in their childhood, and they never got to learn how to love themselves unconditionally. You have to let that go. And you have to understand that it's okay, that what happened is fine, that it was a naive mistake, and you're allowed to make mistakes. You still have value despite the mistake. This takes us to step number 5, where I want you to understand that it's totally okay for you to have gone through what you went through. That you are still valuable and you're still worthy to be loved unconditionally. You don't have to become cold and put a bunch of walls up to keep people from coming in. You can live free of the worry and the guilt of the negative thing that happened in your past. Be proud of who you are and for going through what you went through and coming out on the other side alive. And if you're still alive, that means you have value and you can make a difference in your own life. If you have done these 5 steps, then you have been honest with yourself. And if you meet someone, you can be proud to share that aspect of you. Okay, that was a bit vain, but yeah. You can be proud to share that aspect of you. It's okay for you to be yourself and share that. Yeah. And you can use these 5 steps to get to the source of any emotions that you have hidden away inside of you and you've covered up with your personality, right? Which could be awesome, I bet, but it's not really who you are. And we're trying to get you to be who you are and love that. And I'm sure that it's still part of you. So you can use these 5 steps to figure out how every single thing that has happened to you, no matter what it is, whether it is fear, anger, or whatever it is that you're afraid to share with the world, you can use these 5 steps to work yourself back in and deal with those emotions that you try to cover up with your personality. Once you've done these steps, you'll get to a certain place of peace and you'll feel a sense of freedom within yourself. Ride with that. Ride that wave because it's helping you bring that aspect of you out. And shout out to anyone that you meet when you put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to be authentic and vulnerable. Despite the fact that you're afraid that this person will reject you. You're afraid that they'll when you show your real self. Despite the fact that that will happen, show your true nature. Be your real self. Even if you're afraid that you won't get props from your family and friends for letting this person that you're about to date that is famous or is validating from your social circle, and you let them slip out your fingers because you decided to share who you really are, that is still the best thing that you could do for yourself, because what you're really telling the person that you met is that you have some issues and you took the time and the courage to go within yourself, face those issues, work on them, heal them, right? And now you are proud of who you are and that you are not perfect and you are not afraid to share that with the world. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. Now, if this person is truly there to get to know you, to love you, and get to know who you really are, then you are giving them a choice. You're giving them the choice to either share their brokenness and admit their authentic and vulnerable self, or if they're really there to just use you as a way to serve their own self-worth, their own self-esteem, and use you for any self-serving purpose that they have, they most likely will bail on you because you have set a standard by being who you really are, that this is who I am and I will not take anything less. And if someone is there to take advantage of you, That's scary AF. Trust me, I've been there. And a lot of these guys that come out just to get they run. Because they understand that you are asking them to admit why they're so caught up on because they can't feel like a man without it. And that's something that they have to be vulnerable about. If you set your standard high. Same thing for a man. If a woman is only there for make you rain, you set a standard that they have to admit that they're addicted to the attention. They're addicted to the attention. Attention. See, we tend to think that people that are vulnerable and carry their hearts on their sleeves and authentic are weak. But in actual fact, that is the complete opposite, because it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of self-love for someone to take the risk of being their true self despite their brokenness. And what this starts to do is it starts to filter out all the people that are not meant to be in your life, meaning people that are only there to serve their own needs. Even if being with this person that you just met would give you mad props and make you look like the baddest, the flyest, and the world would completely adore you for being with this person, you will not be as fulfilled as you would have been by being your vulnerable, authentic, true self with the person that you just met and expecting them to love you for it. You will be more fulfilled than anyone that chooses to betray themselves by showing the personality to someone, having them fall in love with that, and staying with the person not because they are their true self or they are fulfilled, but because they will get props and validation from the world for being with someone of whatever characteristics this person is. But wait a minute, okay? Let me let you know a little secret. This is why we create our personalities in the first place. See, the world that we live in is based on looks, money, stature, success, and objects as a standard for value in the world. And we tend to pursue and want these things because we are under the impression that by having these things, the validation that we will get from having these things means that the world accepts us for who we truly are inside. But here's the crazy trip about that. Those things are absolutely temporary. Temporary, meaning that they fluctuate from one moment to the other. So in actual fact, you're getting a false sense of fulfillment and happiness from having these things. Why? Because these things fluctuate, they're temporary, right? They change with the seasons, which means that you as a person, if you identify by them, you're forced to change as well, which is why you would feel the need to get the next new trend, the next new relationship goal, the next new object, car, phone, whatever it is, the next new type of clothing. You will feel the need to adapt, because if you stay where you are and that's not considered valuable anymore, you will not feel valuable. If you're honest and vulnerable and carry your heart on your sleeves, you're almost immune to this, because your fulfillment and happiness comes from being at peace with who you are within yourself, which means that you are not looking to the outside world to find happiness, validation, and fulfillment. So whether it fluctuates or not, you remain at bay. Oh. Now don't get me wrong. I am not saying that it is bad to own these things. All I am saying is that you need to own them for the right reason. Own them for the right reasons, meaning that you don't need these things in order for you to feel whole, but you love yourself enough to give yourself this experience of having these things, meaning you love yourself enough to give yourself the experience of driving a Lambo or flying on a private jet or dating a douchebag, whatever you want to do, but not needing these things in order for you to identify as a whole human being. So that if they were ever to be taken away, or if you were ever to lose them, you will feel just as content, as happy, as valuable, as fulfilled with who you really are, with them or without them. All right, that's it. Get out of here. Hey, now, wait a minute. Relax. Okay? If this video was helpful to you, make sure you share with a family member or a friend or anyone that you think could use this. Anyone that's in a dark place that you feel this could be helpful for, or anyone that you know that could use a little bit more honesty in their lives. Because my goal with this channel is to get you knowledge, because knowledge is power to free yourself. But do you want to?